Good afternoon, everybody. It's a beautiful Florida Sunday. I hope everybody's doing well. It's been a little while since I've given an update, so I wanted to do one for you all. So, I know last video I was pretty excited about a few things I was doing with tomatoes. And it was maybe a week after we had a back-to-back night of freezes, and to top it all off, I was sick. So I could not come out, I could not cover my tomatoes, and they suffered. I basically lost all those green tomatoes I was bragging about, and had to start anew. But I didn't let it get me down. I just kind of picked back up, coming in stronger. I've got all my tomatoes replanted, and I figured I'd go over it with you guys today, and maybe a couple other updates and things that I've been doing. So all right, so here's my raised bed garden, which I've already covered with you guys, but my largest moringa actually died, but my other two smaller ones lived, so I didn't lose out on everything. And I've got some dino kale down here, and that's doing really good. It's been feeding me, actually. I've been cooking it up or eating it in salads. So yeah, I recommend it if you live in the warmer climates. It's a really good kale, also known as lacinato kale. So unfortunately, I was bragging about that. Got decimated completely. All the potatoes I was growing just decimated. And to top it off and make it worse, the mites attacked anything that tried to grow back. So I'm working on getting rid of the mites in there. I'm going to use some insecticidal soap probably tonight, and then put some more seed potatoes in there, and I'm going to start again. I don't think we're going to have any more freezes, so I don't mind investing a few more minutes of my time into getting that set back up. I still plan on grafting tomatoes to it eventually, and have some fun with experimentation, because it was working, and it was really exciting to see it actually working the way I had planned it. So it'll be another video pretty soon down the road, as soon as I see some progress. But so yeah, this is gonna look a lot different than it did before, but this is just in this short time from the last video. These are all new plants. I started everything new from seed. I used Arrow Gardens to get them there, but unfortunately my labeling got messed up along the way, so I don't really know what's what. I can tell you from looking at varieties and the way the leaves look that this is, I think, Prairie Fire or a paste type tomato. This broadleaf potato leaf variety is probably going to be something more along the lines of a probably a slicer. Usually that kind of a leaf begets slicer tomatoes. And then over here we have another Berry's Crazy Cherry, because I remember sharing that with you last time, and I was so excited about it because it seems like it's a really cool tomato, and it just puts out so many tomatoes all at once. So I really want to see what it's capable of doing. And it looks like it's got a little bit of nutrient issues, or I'll have to check the roots later, but it's overall not too bad. And then over here's my biggest actual, let's see, I'll come around here. It's my biggest actual tomato, and this is a paste tomato. I think it's Pink Fang, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. I'm hoping it will be good. I'll probably do some sauces. Like I said before, I'd like to do some canning and things of that nature, so those are my intentions there. This is a sucker that I took and planted, and it looks like it's struggling a little bit, but I'm going to give it a little more time, and hopefully it'll recover. But really all of these were either from seed, or I took cuttings and planted them. And a couple of the ones I actually stuck back in here were from tomatoes that actually I had to throw away. All the green tomatoes, I don't usually eat green tomatoes just because of the solanine content, but they actually replanted themselves and grew more tomatoes for me. So I picked them, and I took the cuttings and I threw them in here, and sure enough, it's working. So I think this is a Super Sweet 100 or a Sweetheart. It's very nice and organized. I love how the trusses are just so, cool. And I know whenever they start to ripen, it's almost like a rainbow effect, because you'll see the more red ones up top, and then I'll get slowly go red, orange to yellow to green at the very end. So It's always cool. It's another broadleaf, so I would say that's another slicer. I would say it's probably 30, 33, 33, 33. There's probably more cherry tomatoes this go around, and probably an even number of paste tomatoes, and then an even number of slicers. So between all of these should be a pretty good variety of everything. I actually just put in the last of what I had started yesterday, so I've been kind of sequencing these so that we should get tomatoes hopefully every week, or as often as possible. But here's another one. I think that's a broad. Yeah, this is actually the yellow brandywine. My parents, I gave them a plant a few months ago, and they actually just got their first yellow brandywine yesterday, and cut it up, and I actually went over there and got to try it. It was amazing. Just reminded me of how much I really like yellow brandywine. So I got a few cuttings off that and stuck them in, and they're doing really well. So these guys are cuttings that I took off of some of these, and they're working. This guy's still kind of accommodating. This is from the Arrow Garden inside. I think that one is a giant garden paste, the hybrid. And these guys, I believe, are Amish pastes, which they're looking a little rough, a little leggy. So I'm hoping that being outdoors, after they harden off a little bit, they'll be a little bit better. And all the pepper plants actually got decimated, and they've already come back this much. So that's pretty cool. A lot of cherry peppers, and we have some sweet peppers down there. It's my favorite one, the Lazia pepper. They're just so delicious when they're actually cooked all the way. And I've got a few Yodfa broccoli. It's a Chinese variety of broccoli that actually you can harvest and then reharvest and reharvest, and you can eat the whole stem. So it's really cool and convenient instead of having to grow once and then harvest the whole thing. And maybe with a Waltham variety of broccoli you'll get a couple of crowns, but I don't know, you get enough of these going, it's pretty nice. So, but tomato wise, that's what I've got going now. Planted a few collards over here, but they're not just any collards, they're actually known as tree collards. This is a blue, and then this is the typical green variety. And what these do is they're actually perennial. They can sustain temperatures, I believe, under freezing, and they will continue to grow and grow and put out more and more. They will never actually die unless weather has that effect on it. But if you're in a warmer climate, they're great perennials to grow if you're looking to turn your yard into a more perennial base where you can get sustainable food and things like that. So we're going to show you over here my dragon fruit. Unfortunately, that got hit really hard. Probably going to have to tear all this out. It's kind of weedy anyways. Just start anew. One of my mangoes got decimated, but it's actually doing better than it was before. It's branching, which is what I like to promote in mangoes, because it really helps you get more fruit at a lower level instead of having it grow really tall and only getting a couple of fruits. You'll get a whole bunch of fruits in a bushy state, so it's pretty nice. Pomegranate's doing really well. I see a bunch of flowers on it. If you've never seen pomegranate flowers before, they're really cool. Just kind of stand out. Here's one that's open. The bees love them, and believe it or not, avocado is actually flowering. So this freeze promoted a lot of flowering, which I found to be really interesting and kind of nice, because when I came out the next day after the freeze, I was a little bummed. Losing all that stuff is kind of unfortunate. Then we have the bees all over this one. This is a cherry of the Rio Grande, and it is I want to say a member of the Eugenia family, but also guava family, and they kind of have a taste similar to what I've been told, cherry candy, and maybe a couple of Eugenia species, with that kind of flavor profile. So it's kind of neat. Blackberries, they're going to town. That's another one, just went crazy flowering all over. So I've got berries forming. I actually ate a couple hours ago. They were amazing. If you can get a hold of blackberries, I've got cuttings galore in my propagator over there. It's you just basically, I've got a pump running and I just stick my branch down in one of those holes, and I have a 2-inch collar, and the collar pinches the hole off and then holds the branch in there, and the water hits it. I have a little bit of aspirin in there, and the aspirin promotes the root growth, almost acts like a rooting hormone. And so now I've got free plants over there growing. I've got some miracle fruit cuttings as well, and they seem to be doing good. So unfortunately, one thing I lost that I'm really bummed about as well is my coffee plant. And my passion fruit's taking over, which I don't mind too much because passion fruit's probably still one of my favorite fruits of all time. But I would really like to have my coffee grow back. It really took it out. I only ended up getting to harvest 1 bean from this thing this year. And I roasted it in the air fryer, and I enjoyed that 1 bean. So it was a little bit of a bummer, but that's okay. That's kind of how it goes. It's high risk, high reward deal. And it isn't really known that well for growing coffee in this region, but I'm trying to see if I can make it work. Believe it or not, there's a Eugenia down there. That's a star cherry. He's doing pretty well. I would imagine it's probably going to flower this year, put out some fruit. I heard the fruit tastes a lot like passion fruit or mango, a little tart, which is good. I don't mind tart things. And we have my Barbados cherry, which got hit really hard. I thought Barbados cherries could take temps down to 28, and I'm pretty sure we didn't get below 30 degrees. So it was a little concerning because this is one of my favorite trees. The Barbados cherry, you know, they have one cherry has enough vitamin C for your whole daily supply, 150%. And the juice is delicious. The flavor's delicious. I'm glad I didn't lose it, but it did take a hit. So and there's some branches that are completely stripped. I've got air layers on this thing, which, if you don't know, air layering is taking the outer layer of bark. You strip the outer layer of bark, you rub rooting hormone on the inner layer of bark, you wrap soil and a ball device of some sort around it. The soil keeps moisture retention and actually promotes root growth right here. So when you have roots, you can actually cut underneath and you have a full rooted tree. You can either sell them or give them away to people, and as gifts. So it's really cool. I just figured I'd experiment. I've got 4 grafts on here that I'm doing right now, and then I've got an air layer on my star fruit over there too, which, thank God, the star fruit didn't take much damage. So the sun's not really hitting it right now, so it's not getting very good quality star fruit, but I think once it gets a little taller, we'll be in good business. And then my Meyer lemon's actually doing wonderful. It's just going crazy. Blooms everywhere. If you haven't smelled citrus blooms, they're amazing. It's like honeysuckle on steroids. It will make your whole yard smell wonderful. So highly recommended if you're in a region that can handle Meyer lemons. Let's see what else we have that's new here. Got some celery growing there. I'm just kind of experimenting with it. I think I need more root space for it. I've got strawberries up in here. They took a little bit of a hit, but I think they're going to come back. I just ate a strawberry from there 2 days ago, and it was pretty good. So I've actually got sugarcane. I planted some sugarcane at the beginning of the year, and they look a lot like grass, but that is sugarcane right there. I've got 4 of them, so I'm trying to make sure I don't confuse them for weeds. And there's one of those volunteer tomatoes, and I actually have 1 spot left, so I might take that tomato a little bit later and transplant it into it. I had a passion fruit growing here because my intention was to have it grow way up here, on this 8 or 9 foot tall structure, but it died. Now, I think this guy is going to root for me. I took a cutting from that mother plant over near the coffee, so we'll see what happens with that. Then I want to show you over here, I just harvested a pound of mulberries from this thing, but there are mulberries out the wazoo. I mean, they're little, but they are everywhere. There's probably 200, maybe more. I can't even count, but it's insane. That's a Maui variety of mulberry, and the one next to it's called a Tice mulberry. That's a Florida variety. The Maui variety, I would say, since it's Maui, it is Hawaiian. So yeah, I don't know. This cold snap really shook up a lot of these plants into going full on just fruiting, flowering mode. Right here, I have people call this variety all sorts of things. I would say generally it's known by world's best mulberry. They're a ever-bearing variety. So how this one works is the fruits, for one, the fruits are massive. I mean, they get even bigger than that, but you get a lot of them. And then once the fruits are all done, they're all ripe, you can actually, yeah, there's a nice one up there. You can actually cut all the leaves off or trim it, and you can promote more flowering, more fruiting. So you can actually have this produced for you year round. So I have multiple trees here and multiple cuttings, and cuttings are a cinch to take from these things. And my plan is to have enough to sequence so that I can, you know, continuously have mulberries for, you know, juice or just fresh eating. They're very delicious, very good for you, nutritious. And over here I have loquats. We had a slightly unusual year with loquats, and we had a lot of them, and they flowered a lot sooner than I've ever seen them flower before. As you can see, we still have some loquats here. This is a different variety. This is the golden nugget variety. This is the Christmas variety. I believe this one's grafted. I think this one's grafted too, but I was just curious to see how they would interact or cross-pollinate with each other. And it looks like it's not quite done yet. There's some new growth going on, so yeah, it's interesting how the weather's been changing. Here's more of that Yodfa Chinese broccoli. This is my garden tower, the composting tower. I built it on like a, I don't know, like a dolly structure. I built that dolly, put wheels on the bottom, keep it elevated, and to keep bugs off of it, I put tape down around the base, and I rubbed, oh, I forget what it's called. It's a sticky substance that keeps the bugs, like anything that tries to climb up it will get stuck, and so it's been helping a lot so far. A lot of the produce in here has been growing a little slow. I think it could be a lack of water, or the dirt might be too waterlogged. No, it doesn't feel bad though. But the broccoli has been really good. I've been harvesting it, been eating it. I actually transplanted that radish. I'm gonna try and get some seeds out of it, and then I'm also gonna see if it'll grow and get you know, grow a tuber for me, and I can harvest that. But got some blueberries over here. I don't know if they actually pollinated or not, though. That doesn't seem to be making much progress. And then there's a mango there. That's an orange sherbet. And then these are some more of my hydroponic containers I grow in the tortoise enclosure. I feed the tortoises from these kale, actually, and I feed myself from them as well, but I mostly eat the lacinato kale and leave this to them. I am experimenting with, this is a round, yeah, it's a round variety of squash. It's a very Italian name, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of it right now, but there's some cucumber. I actually started indoors for a challenge. I had to move one of them outside, so I moved it out here, and it's starting to do really well. It got hit by mites, so I'm gonna have to spray that with some insecticidal soap tonight. But as you can see, the kale, hydroponic kale, is easy. I mean, I don't have to do anything. There's no electricity. It's just all Kratky. It just sits there, and when the water level gets low, I refill it. I just make sure never to refill it above the special fuzzy roots. If you do that, you have a chance to stress them out. So you got to be very careful. Always check your EC and your pH too, to make sure that you're you know, you're not getting too little or too much nutrient density. And that will help you maintain Kratky setups year round instead of just growing once and then being done. I actually, a lot of people grow Kratky just once and then they're done, but you can actually do sustainable Kratky, so just keep that in mind. This is an eggplant I'm trying. It's called Green Cambodian Giant, and there's one right there, and I have heard that these are amazing. They're supposed to be very meaty, not as watery, and really good for things like eggplant parmesan and all that good stuff. There's another yellow brandywine. I actually transplanted it over here from my parents' plant just to see how it does in this area. And there are a lot of bees, that's for sure, but we like the bees. And look who's coming to visit me. Look at him. Say hi, Bowser. Hi, Bowser. Oh, he was rubbing his shell on the wood. How you doing, buddy? Huh? How you doing? Oh, no, don't bite me. Yeah, I've got, I know I've said this before, but I have two of these guys. They're redfoot tortoises, and I've got two of them. I've got Bowser, which is this guy, and then I've got Henry, and Henry's probably hiding. But I've also got a sulcata tortoise. His name is Tiny, and funny enough, he'll be the biggest of them all. But Tiny is actually over there in that corner. I'm not sure if you can see, but he's a coloration of tan and dark brown. So, and over here I have my biggest mango. It's a harvest moon mango, and there are just flowers everywhere. This freeze caused the mango to go insane. I mean, crazy. And as you can see, I'll try and focus in, there are little mangoes on there. So what happens is each of these branches will basically fight for dominance for a mango, and each branch can only have one mango on it. So there will be several that will get pollinated on one branch, but only one will actually remain on the branch. And so that's why it's so important to promote branching on your mangoes at an early age, because you can end up having what, you know, more of a mango bush. You're not dealing with you know, a giant mango tree. You're actually dealing with a bunch of fruit that's at your level and easy to reach and obtain. So yeah, and it survived the freeze, so it was it's a very good variety. I recommend it. It's a Harvest Moon if you missed it. But and I have yellow Jamaican cherry. It's okay. It's something I usually give the tortoises. The two redfoots love fruit. They can actually have more fruit than the most of the other species, so they enjoy the fruits that I'm able to grow here. Mulberries, they're kind of addicts. So, but otherwise, guys, I think I'll do another video for my indoor enclosure, because I have started going to town with that. It's doing really well. And so I've been really happy with everything, and so that will be probably my next video update. And hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe, and look forward to next time. All right, bye guys.